Okay, on this problem it says find an equation of the graph shown below. Hint, use the form y equals a times quantity x minus h squared plus k. So this is a quadratic equation because it's squared. And doing this first one here, we can see that it opens downward, and that's going to affect this a right here. And then also look for the vertex point. The vertex point on a parabola is where the graph either reaches its maximum height if it's opening downward or its minimum height if it's opening up. So this vertex point right here is at the point 1, -1. So the x part, 1, goes in right in there for h. So I'll start typing parts of this in here. It'll be x minus 1 squared. So again, this 1 right here came from the x part of the vertex point. That x part of the vertex point goes in there for h, and notice the minus sign stays. Okay, so this is at 1, is where the x part of the vertex point is, at 1. So just put the 1 where the h is, and that would be x minus 1 squared, x minus 1 squared. The k is the y part of the vertex point. And the y part, this is the y-axis here, the y part of the vertex point is -1. So that tells me that I have -1. Now, the little bit of a tricky part here is the a. The a, if it opens downward, is negative. So I'll put a negative to start off with. But there could be a number in front of this. So right now, negative is the same as -1. There's no difference. You don't have to type in the 1. If you see negative and no number, the number is assumed to be -1. But you could type in -1 if you wanted to. To know what this number is, I only know it's negative. I don't know if it's -1, -2, -3, -0.5, whatever. So what I have to do is look at the next point after the vertex point to see if it's how far to the right and how far down it is. So I'm looking for a point that hits right on the crosshairs, not like this one, but here's one right here that hits right on the crosshairs, right exactly at the point 2, -3. See, this one hits right at 2, -3, and this one does not hit right at a solid integer value. So this point here, in relationship to this one, point here, is 1 over and 2 down. Well, think of it as a slope type of thing. Slope is rise over run. This didn't rise, it fell 2, and it ran 1. So we could say that's -2 for the fall. See, going from here to here, it's a drop of 2 points. So that's -2, and it ran 1. It's over to the right 1. And I know we could say that right there is over 1, but really there's no need to, because -2 over 1 is the same as just -2. So now we have all the parts of this. We have the x and y part of the vertex point, plus kind of like the stretch or how thin that parabola is, the factor right here. This is a little bit thinner than usual parabola because it is dropping 2, not just dropping 1. See, a typical one would drop 1 would go right about here. So let's submit this one and we'll look at another one. So we'll submit it and we get a green, and let's do a new version here. So let's see if this is something new. This one still opens down. I tell you what, let's go ahead and do it. So this one would be y equals, what we could do is take care of the vertex point. We can do it in order. The vertex point is right here. Let's take care of the a. From this spot, the next solid point that hit right on the integer was right here. Now we can see that that's over 1 and down 1 from the vertex point. So over 1, down 1 in terms of rise over run would just be a -1. Okay, again, it's down 1. We could say down 1 over 1. So that's a -1 over 1, which is -1. See, this hits right at the point, right on the spot, -1, 2. And this point in relationship to that vertex point is down 1 over 1, -1 over 1, which is -1. Now, the vertex point is right here on the x-axis at -2. If you plug -2 in there for h, you'd have x minus a -2. Well, x minus a negative, when you subtract a negative, it's the same as adding a positive. So that's going to be x plus 2 squared. And then the k is the y part of the vertex point, which is up here at 3. So we say plus 3. So let's get all the pieces from this again. Again, probably the easiest part is the y part of the vertex point. The y part of the vertex point is 3. Done. That's what goes right there. The x part of the vertex point is -2. Put the -2 in for h, and you have x minus a -2. X minus a -2, two negatives make a positive, so that's going to be plus 2. Don't forget to say that squared, or you wouldn't have a parabola. Then this -1 came again from looking at the rise and run from the vertex point to another point that hits right on whole number values. So this point hits right on whole number values, and here's the vertex point. So that was down 1 over 1. Down 1 means -1, over 1 to the right means +1, and -1 over 1 is -1. So that would be that point right there. And we really don't need the -1. You can keep it if you want, but negative means -1. And let's do one more. I think we have time to do another one here. So let's see this one. So this one, if we'll do it straight across. So from the vertex point, the next point that hits right on the money, right on a solid point, is this point right here. That's 2 up and 1 to the right. So the a factor right here is 2. Then we do parentheses. Let's see what we have here for the vertex point. The x part of the vertex point is 3. So put the 3 right in there for h, and that would be x minus 3. That gets squared. Then the plus k is the y part of the vertex point, which is plus 2, because it hits right here at a height of 2. Let's submit that one. And you can see that if you do a few of these, you get faster and faster at it. But if you're not going this fast, you can always just watch another video on this. And let's see if we can find a new version that's a little bit different. Let's do this one, what the heck. So on this one, we can see that the factor, the a factor, is from the vertex point, it was down 1 over 1 to hit on the next whole number. So down 1 over 1 would be -1, then parentheses x, and the x part of the vertex point is -1, and minus a -1 makes +1. That gets squared, and then the y part of the vertex point, which is the k on this, is -3 right there. So that'd be -3. And we can submit that, and you can see you get the right thing. So I'll stop right there, and hopefully you get the idea of how to do these.